Okay, we're continuing our series, Price Action 101. This is video number 4, and as I said, we'll go through candle transitions. I think this is the part that's the most important in terms of an edge. But again, you've got to learn how candlesticks work in the first place to take advantage of this. And again, there's a ton of content online. You can watch video 3. I take you through my perspective on it. I do definitely add some unique elements, but I think this is the one that I would focus on in terms of the like alpha, if you will. And so, really, the important thing to note here is that, you know, candlesticks, like a candle, I should say, just if we're, talking about an individual candle, like while it's forming, which is to say, before it closes, is only a temporary state, right? The candle is like if you're looking at a daily candle, if it's crypto that trades 24 hours a day, right? So there are 24 1 hour candles within that one daily candle. And so you could totally have a really bullish looking candle that then turns really bearish because like the first 10 hourly candles were really bullish, but then the next 14 were completely bearish. So let's look at an example. Let's say sometimes candles go from red to green. And again, let's think about the most bearish scenario where this is how your candle looks. And just for the sake of simplicity, let's say these are daily candles. So let's say we are talking about crypto, which trades 24 hours a day. So there are, again, there are going to be 24 hourly candles inside one daily candle, right? One day, 24 hours, crypto trades 24 hours a day, right? If you were looking at 8 hour candles, there are 3 8 hour candles inside one daily candle, right? If you were looking at 8 hour increments. And so let's say it's only been trading for 3 hours of the day. And so this is what the daily candle looks like because it's been straight down. 3 hourly candles, it just went straight down. So it looks really bearish. This is like as bearish as a candle can look. And then let's say the next couple of hours, we start to get some green candles. We start to get some movement to the upside. That means that the daily candle is going to start to get an upper wick to it because price was here, but because we're starting to move up, price is now moving up, 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 right? And here's the other thing I guess is important. I should have let off with this. I'm sorry. The open price is fixed. And that makes sense, right? What the candle opens at is what it opens at, and that never changes because that's the first data point you ever get for any candle. So in this case, right, this candle opened here. That can never change, right? The minute that candle opened, the second really that candle opened, that was your opening price. And that's it. That's set in stone. That never changes. Remember, OHLC, open, high, low, close. The O is set in stone. And that's that's the way to think about it. The rest of the candle forms around the opening price. And again, in this case, think of that as this line here is your opening price. So it opened here and then it just plunged. But then it started to move higher. And so remember what I said, the closing price is going to be the body of the candle. And if it's red, it's the lower part of the body. If it's green, it's the upper part. And so when you're looking at a candle that hasn't closed yet, right? A candle that's still in flux, a candle that's still forming, the current price is going to be what the quote unquote close price is. So again, if this were a daily candle, right, the current price would be here. Like whatever the current price is would be this because this is where the quote unquote closing price. I hope that makes sense, right? Like as a candle is forming, the price in that second is always the part of the body that corresponds to the color of the candle, right? So if it's green, it's the top of the body. If it's red, it's the bottom. And so again, the opening price is what the candle forms around. So again, this was your open, right? It hasn't changed, right? Price is just went from being all the way down here to coming all the way up here. So we went from here to here. And then, we have several hours of downside, and then we had a bit of a rally that moved price up, and then the rally just continues, right? We just keep moving higher. We go so high that we actually get back to the opening price. This guy here, right? That's where we are here. This is actually called the Dragonfly Candle. I think the specific names of the candles are irrelevant. I wouldn't worry about them, but look at this. We were all the way down here, but we managed to rebound so much so that a candle that was blood red is now doesn't have a color at all because the open price and the close price have converged. They're now the same. It managed to go from a plunge to closing the distance. If it continues to see follow through, right? Again, this is your close, or excuse me, this is your open. The candle will become green, right? Think about that. Think about that for a second. This is where the candle opened, right? So if we could ever get back above this level, anything above this level is all green. And that's what this is, right? Anything above this level is green. And you notice this wick is this, like, right? This is removed, this, because this body, retreats as the price goes up. It's like, okay, well, it's not part of the body anymore because we're not going to close at that price anymore, right? And in fact, if let's say we ended the 24-hour period up here, that's how we would close. And that's how a really blood red candle becomes a really bullish green hammer. That's incredibly important to remember because when you're looking at an unformed candle, a candle that's in the process of forming, you have to be cognizant of the fact that it can radically change in its shape. What it can't change, though, is its opening price, right? Again, that's important to understand. That the opening price can never, ever change because that happens in the first second the candle opens. Like, boom, that's your opening price. That's it. Can't change that. And so everything else just happens around that opening price. So in this scenario where it does this, if it managed to come back down, this would just create an upper wick. So it would have a big lower wick and a smaller upper wick, which would be kind of annoying, but that's the idea of transitions. And that's going to be incredibly important as we get into live charts and look at, scenarios. Like, just think about it. Like, is it possible this candle is going to morph into something that looks less bullish or more bearish or what have you? And so the exact same process applies to green to red. So I won't go through this in great detail because, again, it is literally the same concept. Again, where did the price open here? It opened here, right? Everything starts at the open. The opening price cannot ever change. The opening price is the opening price, will always be the opening price. In this case, we have a beautiful big green candle just going straight up. We're bullish. We're happy if we're long. Long meaning you're positioned to make money if it goes higher. And then we pull back. So again, same example. Price was here, but then it pulls back to here. If it keeps pulling back, we get this, what's called a shooting star, a shooter, really ugly. I mean, this is really a shooter. But anytime you see an upper wick, we talked about this in the previous video, upper wick is very bearish because it means price was all the way here, but then it retreated. And if it keeps retreating, it gets to be red. So again, this is your open, right? So anything that goes below this becomes red. In the same way, in that other example, anything that went above there became green, right? So this is how a big, beautiful green candle turns into a really ugly, bearish red candle, which there are lots of examples of this in like live price action. When you see a candle like this, you want to be very careful. Doesn't mean it's going to be ominous, but the odds definitely shift to being more ominous for sure. And so we'll leave it there. In the next video, we'll get into multi-time frame analysis, which is how you start to really put those candle transitions into action.